You know when you're watching a movie and something feels off? Nobody says it out loud, but you feel it in your chest. Haine captures that moment perfectly. You know a tragedy is coming, but you don't know when.
C'est l'histoire d'un homme qui tombe d'un immeuble de 50 étages. Le mec, au fur et à mesure de sa chute, il se répète sans cesse pour se rassurer. Jusqu'ici, tout va bien. Jusqu'ici, tout va bien. Jusqu'ici, tout va bien. Mais l'important, c'est pas la chute. C'est l'atterrissage.
That's how Haine opens up, a warning before everything even starts. And then the very first image that we see is a protester standing in front of a riot police yelling. Right after that moment, the film hits you with real footage of police lines, protests, smoke, and the tension in the air. A city already on edge. Right there, you understand where the characters live in. A world where one side feels armed, protected, and trained, and the other side feels young, frustrated, hurt, and unheard. That's all tension, and that's the whole movie right there. Then the monologue ends, and everything goes quiet. Not in that peaceful quiet, just in that heavy quiet where you feel something is off. And before the film gets into anything else, it introduces you to the trio in the center of all this pressure. Saeed is the first one we meet. He walked through neighborhoods that had already been torn apart, flipped dumpsters, graffiti everywhere, cops staring him down like they already made up their minds about him. And then he tags the police on the van and keeps it moving. That tiny moment tells you everything you need to know. Saeed is loud, energetic, funny, but underneath all that, he is just trying to protect whatever joy he can in a place that tries to crush it out of him. And then we meet Vince, the hothead, the kid who wants to feel powerful. He's bragging about being in the riots, pretending he's ready for the moment that terrifies him as much as it excites him. His introduction is pure tension. Every word, every gesture, every stare feels like he's trying to convince himself he's a lot tougher than he really is. Vince doesn't really want revenge as much as he wants to matter in a world that keeps telling him that he doesn't. Then it's Hubert. His gym, his dream is all burned to ashes. Everything he has built is gone except one punching bag that's still hanging from the ceiling. And he's just there, hitting it. Controlled, focused, quiet. That's Hubert, the calm one, the one that wants out, the thinker who sees beyond today. He's tired, but he still believes there's something better on the other side of all this. These introductions matter because the movie never explains who they are. It shows you. Saeed is the heart, Vince is the pressure, and Hubert is the balance. And once you understand these three, the whole movie becomes a ticking time bomb. Then you learn about their friend, the kid beaten near to death by the police. And then suddenly every little argument, every little emotion, every bad decision makes sense. It's not theoretical to them. It's not politics. It's personal. And their friend being in critical condition turns that whole day into a countdown to see if their friend lives or dies. After all that situation, we find out Vince has a gun. And I remember learning about Chekhov's gun in film school. The moment a gun appears, you know it's gonna matter. But even if you never study film, you feel this instinctively. Cinema teaches you certain things without saying them out loud. You have been learning the cinematic language way before you learn your actual language. So when Vince pulls out the police gun he found during the riots, everything changes. Every scene moving forward becomes tension. Every time the cops walk by, every time Vince reaches for his pocket, every time Hubert looks at him, the movie tightens. You don't ask, will the gun be used? You ask, when and who's gonna pay for it? And the movie makes the police themselves a kind of horror element. Anytime they appear, even just standing in a group, even just driving by through the projects, even just staring, your chest tightens. You're waiting for something to go wrong because this world taught you everything always does go wrong. Meanwhile, during the film, Vince and Hubert are battling two completely different philosophies. Vince is drowning in rage. He wants revenge. He wants to feel in control. He wants somebody to pay for what happened to his friend. Hubert is the opposite. He wants peace. He wants out. He wants something better. Not because he's scared, but because he understands where hate leads if you let it sit inside of you way too long. And Saeed is stuck in the middle, loving them both, understanding them both, and trying to keep this friendship together even if the world is trying to pull it all apart. And then it comes the neo-Nazi scene, the moment everything builds towards. All movie long, Hubert has been telling Vince to put down the gun, to stop acting tough, to stop going down the path he can't come back from. But when they catch actual neo-Nazis alone, Hubert flips it. He tells Vince, go ahead and do it. He tests him. And what happens? Vince can't pull that trigger. It's not who he is. He wants to feel powerful, not to take a life. And the moment is the first real growth we see in him during the film. The mask drops, the tough guy performance fade, and he realizes he doesn't want to fall into the cycle that's been swallowing everyone around him. For a second, you think the movie ends differently. People say La Haine meanders, but it really doesn't. The time you spend with the trios is the reason why the ending hits so hard. You learn how they joke, you learn how they argue, you learn how they protect each other, how they annoy each other, how they love each other without saying it. They're not characters, they're brothers. That's why the last few minutes feel like a punch to the gut. Vince gives the gun to Hubert. That's huge. The kid that spends the whole movie trying to prove he's dangerous finally lets go. He's done. He's growing. He's realizing who he wants to be. And if the movie ended right there, it would be hopeful. But La Haine doesn't lie to you, because the world they live in doesn't lie either. Right after Vince changes, right after he hands the gun away, right after the cycle almost breaks, the police stop him. Not riot police, not armor units, 2 regular officers, one young, nervous, and inexperienced, and clearly not built for this pressure. They harass Vince and Saeed. They toy with him. They press the gun into Vince's head as a joke, as a flex, as a way to feel in control. And then the rookie's gun goes off. Accidentally, instantly, meaninglessly. Vince dies. And just like that, not in a riot, not in an act of revenge, not in a tough guy fantasy he practiced in the mirror. He dies because someone else made the same mistake he was afraid he might make. And Hubert, the one that wants peace, stepped forward with the gun. Saeed closes his eyes, and you hear the shot. The fall is over. The landing kills you. And then the movie goes back to that quote. This is a story of society falling. As it falls, it keeps trying to tell itself, so far so good, so far so good, so far so good. But the problem isn't the fall, it's the landing. When you hear that after everything you just watched, it hits differently because you understand. Every joke was a part of the fall. Every argument was a part of the fall. Every cop encounter was a part of the fall. Every moment with that gun was a part of the fall. The whole movie is falling, and the ending is the landing. La Haine came out in 1995, but the cycle inside of it still exists today. In France, in America, everywhere where people grow up unheard and unseen. Hate breeds hate, pressure breeds explosions. System creates cycles that people try to break out of, but sometimes that cycle hits them first. And I sat with this review for a little bit, and I realized more than ever, we live in a state of tension. We live with a ton of unknowns. Our world leaders are in tension with their people and in tension with each other. And we still see how hate keeps breeding more hate. We still see people all over the world, innocent people, who has nothing to do with politics, still feeling unheard, unseen. And therefore, it takes all of us to come together, to take a conscious choice to not keep on breeding that hate. Because if we don't, we're just all a part of the fall. And through all of this, the movie leaves you with the same reminder it started with. It's not how you fall, it's how you land. Thank you for watching Cine Still, and I'll see you next week.